The sun had long set over the River Thames on a warm Saturday night in June, but the heart of London was pulsing with the vibrant energy of a city in full bloom. Friends gathered in crowded pubs, tourists marveled at the illuminated skyline, and the laughter of 1,000 conversations drifted through the air of Borough Market. No one walking across the iconic arches of London Bridge that evening could have imagined that within minutes, this scene of urban serenity would be shattered by a calculated explosion of violence that would test the very soul of the city. Before we delve deeper into the harrowing events of this night, please take a moment to comment, like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of the Calendar of Crime. Your support helps us continue to document these important stories from history. The date was June 3, 2017, and the United Kingdom was already on edge, following a string of devastating attacks in Westminster and Manchester. Security was high, but the sheer scale of the city makes total surveillance an impossibility. In the quiet suburb of Harold Hill, 3 men, Khurram Butt, Rashid Redouan, and Youssef Zagba, were finalizing a plan they hoped would be even more catastrophic. They had initially attempted to hire a 7.5-ton truck, a weapon of mass destruction in a crowded city, but were thwarted by a simple failed payment, forcing them to settle for a smaller white Renault Master van. At precisely 9:58 p.m., the white van began its fateful journey, crossing London Bridge multiple times as the attackers scouted for the densest crowds. Then, at 10:08 p.m., the vehicle suddenly veered onto the pavement, accelerating into the unsuspecting pedestrians who were enjoying the night air. The impact was silent and sudden for many, a terrifying blur of white metal and shattered glass that left a trail of devastation in its wake. 2 lives were claimed in those first few seconds, as the bridge transformed from a thoroughfare into a scene of carnage. The van didn't stop until it crashed violently into a railing near the Barrow Boy and Banker pub on Borough High Street. The attackers, realizing their vehicle was now useless, leapt from the wreckage. They were dressed in dark clothing and, chillingly, wore what appeared to be suicide vests, bulky belts strapped with canisters and wires. Though later revealed to be fake, the sight of them sent a wave of primal terror through the crowds as the 3 men drew 12-inch ceramic kitchen knives and began a frantic, bloodthirsty descent into the heart of Borough Market. They ran down the stone steps toward Green Dragon Court, screaming and swinging their blades at anyone within reach. The Borough Bistro, a popular spot tucked under the bridge, became the next theater of horror. Diners who had been clinking glasses moments before were suddenly fighting for their lives. The attackers showed no mercy, striking at the neck and chest of their victims with clinical precision. It was a chaotic, confusing nightmare where the line between a normal Saturday night and a war zone had completely evaporated. In the midst of this darkness, incredible flickers of human defiance began to emerge. Inside the Black and Blue Steakhouse, a man named Roy Larner saw the attackers burst through the doors. While others sought cover, Larner, a lifelong Millwall supporter, stood his ground. He didn't have a weapon, but he had his voice and his fists. He shouted a defiant, "Fuck you! I'm Millwall!" and charged the 3 armed terrorists, taking 8 stabs to his body, but giving dozens of others the precious seconds they needed to escape through the back exits. The bravery wasn't confined to the pubs. Ignacio Echeverría, a young Spaniard who had been out with friends, saw a man being attacked by the terrorists near Borough High Street. Armed with nothing but his skateboard, he didn't hesitate. He ran toward the danger, using his board to strike at the attackers and draw their focus away from the vulnerable. He fought with everything he had until he was eventually overwhelmed, earning the eternal title of the skateboard hero for his selfless sacrifice that night. Near the market, a Romanian baker named Florin Morariu was working his night shift when he heard the screams. Looking out, he saw the attackers stabbing a woman. Without a second thought, he grabbed a heavy wooden bread crate and threw it at one of the terrorists, hitting him squarely in the head. He then opened the doors of his bakery, ushering 20 terrified people inside and locking the entrance, providing a sanctuary of flour and steel while the madness continued just inches away on the cobblestones. The emergency response was a masterclass in speed and coordination, The first 999 call was recorded at 10:07 p.m., and within minutes, the run, hide, tell protocol was being blasted across social media and news outlets. Armed officers from the Metropolitan and City of London Police converged on the area with breathtaking speed. They navigated the narrow, winding alleys of Borough Market, guided by the screams and the trail of the attackers. Only 8 minutes after the first call, the 3 terrorists were cornered outside the Wheatsheaf pub. The final confrontation was brief and decisive. As the attackers charged the police, still wearing their fake explosive belts and brandishing their knives, the officers opened fire. A total of 46 rounds were discharged in a matter of seconds, neutralizing the threat and ending the 8-minute reign of terror. The silence that followed was heavy with the weight of what had just occurred. Medics and off-duty doctors who had been dining nearby rushed into the fray, turning restaurant tables into triage stations in a desperate bid to save the 48 people who had been wounded. In the days that followed, London did what it does best. It stood tall. The London Bridge strong sentiment echoed across the globe as the city mourned the 8 innocent souls lost. Citizens from the UK, France, Australia, Canada, and Spain. Concrete barriers were soon installed on the bridges, a grim but necessary addition to the skyline. The fake suicide vests were analyzed, the radicalization of the attackers was investigated, and the stories of the heroes who fought back were etched into the city's long and resilient history. The June 3rd attack was a reminder of the fragility of peace, but more importantly, it was a testament to the courage of ordinary people. From the police who ran toward the gunfire to the civilians who fought back with skateboards and bread crates, the spirit of London proved unbreakable. As the sun rises over the Thames today, the bridge stands as a monument, not to the terror that visited it, but to the unity and strength that emerged from the shadows of that warm June night. Thanks for watching. Please comment, share, like, and subscribe for future episodes from the Calendar of Crime.